Hello everyone and welcome to the FIA Certified Gran Turismo Championships for 2019. This, the Nations Cup for the North America region. Top 16 Superstars race coming up for you. My name is Chris McCarthy and alongside me to call the action is Jimmy Broadbent.
Yeah, great to be here, Chris. Very much looking forward to seeing what our friends from across the pond can do for us today.
Well, we've had 17 rounds so far, so let's see what the points standings currently look like. And here they are. Def Sun, a commanding lead so far, 14,265 points, but second to fifth looking very close there.
Yep, definitely. There's a lot to play for in the midfield there, but you can't help but look past Def Sun there. Really a large lead at the top of the leaderboard, and he'll be looking to try and keep that in today's race. Yes,
he will, and let's have a look at what they will be racing around today. They're going to be heading around the very tricky Tokyo Expressway East Outer Loop, a particularly interesting layout, as you will see. A very, very long start-finish straight mixed in with very fast and flowing corners, two heavy overtaking braking zones as well, which should lead to a lot of overtaking.
Yeah, essentially just imagine a street circuit, and you have a Tokyo. It's just a street circuit, essentially highways made up into a racetrack from the guys over at Gran Turismo. As Chris said, some good overtaking spots down in turn 12. A lot of slipstream action going on down the main straight, so sometimes it's better to be behind someone down there than it is to be leading.
And that start-finish straight will come into play because if anyone is to pick up a penalty, it's going to cost them the race potentially.
Yeah, big time. You see, penalty zone is just out of T13, right at the start of the acceleration zone. It's a very long straight down here. If you get a penalty there, you can very easily go from first to last in a click of your fingers.
Well, let's have a look then at what's coming up in the race. We're going to be racing in Group 1 cars, if you can believe it. Hard or medium tyres to choose from. 9 laps to sort this one out. Tyre wear, 26 times. I think that's the most important thing to note there.
Yeah, fuel wear or fuel consumption won't really come into it there. But speaking of tyre wear, here is our strategy, what we think was going to happen for the race coming up. As you can see, the racing hard tyre, we think will go the distance, do the whole 9 laps, even with the 26 times tyre wear, whereas we think the racing medium tyre will fall off after 5. But we've been wrong before. We've had strategy sheets like this before, and we've seen racing mediums actually can go to the end if the driver is soft. So we'll see what they can do with it.
I think the thing is, isn't it, these are our top 16 superstars, so they can make those tyres go longer than they possibly should. Okay, well, let's have a look at the grid then and get this race underway for you. Let's have a look at who qualified where and who is going to be in what car, because the car choices were optional. Subaru, it looks like it's going to be on pole position, and that is CAR Lamb, the American, in the Mazda LM55. Then we've got Turismo Def Sun in the Nissan, and alongside Turismo Windfire in the Nissan, we are going to have FT Ant in the Mazda LM55. That is a name familiar to our World Tour events. Turismo Leicester, the Canadian, is going to be in the Nissan on the inside of row 3. Another Nissan to the outside of row 3 is Rory True. Then we have NZ in the Nissan starting from 7th place. Starting from 8th place is Zenit in the Mazda LM55.
Great to see some of these Group C machines out there being used. Outlaw Quadrant there in 9th with the Mazda, another popular choice, and there is that gorgeous R92CP, the Nissan, the Group C machine in 10th position with AMS Marzan. In 11th we have Turismo Geordie there, also in the Mazda. Then back into 12th we have Bill Bader there in the Nissan. And another Nissan, AMS Doogie there, the American driver in 13th position. Then behind him in 14th, it is Bro Wilson. No, Bro in the Dr. Pepper livery there. Mazda, then a Pennzoil Nissan in 15th with Argent Jacob there. And rounding off the grid is Ibuprofen. Good to know there's some of that in the race.
Well, it's better to be safe than sorry, isn't it? As you see, don't let the liveries confuse you with the pole sitter, as it did for me just a little bit ago. 9 laps though. CAR Lamb's got to try and hold on to that lead for turn 1's going to be very interesting because it takes quite a long time to get down there, and the American is going to have a huge task on his hands to hold off Turismo Def Sun just behind. 2 Turismo drivers, 2nd and 3rd. Windfire there in 3rd place. FT Ant 4th place. Well, we've got one driver on the hard tyre, that is Zenit, and he's surrounded by everyone else that's on the medium tyre.
Yeah, so we'll see how that really pans out. We're unsure if we'll see a stop here on the medium. If a lot of people are on the medium tyre, then they might try and just outlast each other, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm very interested to see what this Group C car can do down the straight. We know the Group C cars are very, very quick in a straight line, so it'll be anyone's guess who will be leading down into T1.
Well, here we go then. It looks like we're about to get underway and racing for the North America region Top 16 Superstars race. This, the Nations Cup. Right, here we go then. Round number 18 is underway, and CAR Lamb leads us down towards turn number 1. Turismo Defsun there in second place. Windfire in third, and it looks as if Defsun is already going by the straight line speed, just pulling Defsun straight into the lead, and likewise Windfire going straight into second place. Poor old CAR Lamb has dropped down to third place before they've even braked for turn number 1. Then we've got Turismo Leicester up to fourth. NZ has come through to fifth place. So a lot of changes before we even got down towards that first corner. We were talking about how long that start-finish straight was. They were only full throttle for about half of it. So let's see what happens next time they come around to complete lap number 1.
Those groups in Nissan's absolutely monstrous in a straight line there. Carl Lamb had no chance of defending that down into T1, but will we see them unravel slightly coming through the middle sector? Seems they're pretty quick through here right now, and there is Carl Lamb, our pole sitter. Nothing he could do about going down to third position right at the start. Now being absolutely swarmed by Turismo Leicester there, also in the Group C Nissan. So I wonder if these Nissans are going to be good in their tyres. Traditionally, of course, big turbocharged, very powerful Group C cars, usually quite bad on the rear tyres, so we'll see if they can last. Now we're coming into one of the probably the best overtaking spots on the course, down to T12 just before our penalty line, and Carl Lamb has a bit of breathing room now in third position. And it seems that Defsun and Windfire.
Someone went off.
Yeah, I think someone went flying off in the background there. We didn't quite catch that, but Carl Lamb, see how much he closes in there in the slower stuff. But now, watch these Nissans. He's going to be sitting there in his Mazda, is Carl Lamb, thinking, oh, I wish I picked that car. Going down the straight.
Yeah, that's it. It's in the name, isn't it? But we've got Defsun and Windfire leading the way at the moment, and there they go, off
Goodbye.
to the sunset. So it's going to be a two-horse race between those two, it seems. Here comes Leicester coming through as well, trying to go after his teammates Defsun and Windfire.
I think that Carl Lamb got a bump there. He very quickly
he's getting pushed along, is he?
Increased his speed. It's a bit of a bump draft down the straight there. I think that's from NZ behind. I think fell asleep on his keyboard when typing in his name, bless him. But doing well in this race. And you see, just giving his friend a little bit of a bump draft there. It seems that these Mazdas can get up to the same speed as Nissan. It takes a lot longer for them to get there. I think there's a bit more aero on these cars. But right now, it's hard to look past the Nissan, Chris. That car is fantastic around it.
The difference between speed is absolutely exceptional, isn't it? And Lamb is just a sick duck down the straight, unfortunately, and it's making this race pretty spread out so far. NZ is just having a few problems coming through the the fast and flowing corner, shall I say, and is under now a lot of pressure from Marzan 14 as they come up towards the right-hander and through the left, which will lead us down towards turn number 12, but has dropped back Marzan, so won't be able to make any moves under braking. Let's see if that changes when they come out of the corner. Gap between Defsun and Windfire, an impressive 2 seconds so far. And I tell you what, Lamb through the, of course, from turn 1 to 12 is able to hang with Leicester, but that will probably change now we've gone onto the straight.
Yeah, such different cars, these Vision GT cars and the Group C Nissans. As there goes AMS at Marzan there, pulling past NZ, nice and easy, but now NZ will have the slipstream. Of course, these in real life, these cars are 5-speed H-pattern boxes against the 8-speed flappy paddle gearbox in the other Vision GT car. I can't think of two different cars, and yet they're still balanced together so well. But Carl Lamb now is absolutely being eaten up there by Marzan. Nothing he can do on the straight. Will NZ get by as well? No, he doesn't quite have the run, but Marzan there just drives past him. That must be so frustrating there for Lamb.
All the hard work you do between turn 1 and 12 just absolutely disappears, and that's got to be a real frustrating situation at the moment. What can you do though? Marzan pulling away now in 4th place. Let's see if Marzan can hang on. Now we're going up towards turn number 12 through these flowing corners. Here is, that's Rory True, I think, in 7th place coming into play. Yes, it is. So Rory True is involved in this battle now behind fellow Canadian NZ. Rory True a new face to this battle, and that must mean Rory True is absolutely charging. Let's have a look at how the driver on the hard tyre is getting on. Zenit currently down in 10th place, so not good so far. Maybe wishing he'd have gone on the mediums.
Some drivers though have trouble making the medium tyres last, of course, so some people just go, well, I'll go for the hard tyre and just drive it as hard as I can, and, but sometimes you just can't make it up. We think it's about 0.5 of a second between the tyres around here, so that does add up as the laps go on, and can really hurt you as the race progresses. So here is Carl Lamb. Now Lamb has the draft from Marzan in front. He's very close, but you can see the difference in acceleration there. There's just not much you can do apart from drive and just try and pick up a slipstream when you can, and hope that maybe the cars in front are going to fall off. So what I'm interested to see is how this Nissan is going to deal with tyre wear. Group C cars, as I mentioned before, used to be very hard on the rear tyres, so you want to have a bit of a soft right foot when coming onto the big acceleration zone. I'm not sure whether they'll last the entire race or not. If we are going to see a stop from the guys on the medium tyres, it will be next lap, I think. But we'll see. We'll see again. We've seen in races previous to this that the medium tyre can last longer if you are careful. But it does fall off. The performance does fall off as you get to the later lap, but you can keep it out there and still be quicker than not stopping. So we'll see what happens.
Well, we were talking about Rory True maybe being one to watch, but I think the Canadian has actually picked up a penalty, so that'll see him dropping down the order next time around when he comes out of turn 13. Let's have a look at the leader though, because we haven't really seen much of him so far. Turismo Defsun there going along very nicely, and we can see why he's leading so much, because looks absolutely planted.
Yeah, Carl looks easy around there. He looks just like he's out for a Sunday drive, really. I know Sunday drive in the Group C car is probably a bit extreme for some people. But he just seems very comfy, and that's what you need to be as a leader. You need to know how hard you can push, just basically maintain the gap whilst staying nice and easy what you're doing. You see Turismo Defsun there, interesting tactic, actually holding a little bit of throttle there going into the braking zone, trying to stabilise the car. Not something you really see too much from these guys, but it's working out for him. It's working out for him. Maybe trying to keep a bit boost on, maybe brake boosting. I wouldn't recommend that in these cars, but he's making it work, and you can see the speed before the start-finish line. They're already above 200 miles an hour, and here we go into the pits there. So these Group C cars can't last the race on the tyres. So here comes Windfire as well. Here comes Marzan. So all the runners that have started on with the Nissan are having to come in for a fresh set of tyres, and that means Carl Lamb, who was of course losing places hand over fist, has now re-inherited the lead.
Well, can Carl Lamb hold on now? That's going to be something we're going to have to look at. We're just going to have to monitor the gaps with every single lap as Defsun comes back out in 6th place, Windfire in 7th. So let's see how those two get on. But for now, our new leader is Carl Lamb with NZ in 2nd place, and NZ only just over a second back. So the race has just become very, very interesting indeed with those pit stops taking place. FT Ant is there in 3rd place, Zenit in 4th place. I thought Zenit picked up a penalty, and I think did, and is now 4 seconds back from FT Ant. But Defsun, well, 4.3 back from Bro Wilson. Let's see how quickly Defsun is able to catch Bro Wilson.
Of course, traffic around here is going to be a thing. I mean, you might be fast on track on your own, but if you don't have track position, you can lose a lot of time to the car in front, so I have to follow in dirt here. Luckily for Defsun, he has a bit of a gap in front of him, so he can drive into that now and try and make up as much time as possible. As you said, Chris, it's about 3 seconds between himself and 5th position, so he's got a bit of time to make up. And of course, he's got the big long through there now. Bro Wilson is in the LM Division car, the Mazda, so we'll probably see Defsun close up on the straight quite substantial. There he is there, so a bit of a gap. Also got the yellow X in the back there, Chris. I mean, for those at home, that basically means he's a rookie. Yeah. it means leave me alone. So
yeah,
I see that on there.
Fair enough. Well, Bro Wilson at the moment isn't driving like one. Up in 5th place at the moment, and a bit of space either side, which is certainly good if you got one of those stickers on. NZ into the pits. Bro Wilson also coming in. So more drivers coming into the pits, meaning Carl Lamb, FT Ant, Zenit are the only 3 drivers at the very front not to have pitted. It leaves them 1st, 2nd and 3rd. But now this is perfect news for Defsun. Defsun a clear track ahead, 4.6 seconds of road to close down FT Ant, who's just dropped to 3rd place, with Zenit going into 2nd on those hard tyres.
Yeah, so now he can really drive the wheels off that Nissan Group C car. Here's your fight for 2nd as it stands right now. Zenit on the harder compounded tyre, so Maybe not quite as quick as Ant behind, but as you said, he has moved up into second position, so he's feeling nice and fighty out there in that LM55 Vision GT car. Great to see those cars on the circuit. Vision GT cars were essentially a collaboration between Gran Turismo and the manufacturer to say, if you had no object, what is the car you would make? And they come back with some awesome looking things like this. Great to see him racing in the Group 1 cars. And you see through the middle section there, Zenit there on the hard tyres, which are not as worn as Ant's mediums, of course. Just pulling away from the middle section. Car's a lot more agile, a lot easier to drive. And I imagine Ant's probably wondering, why didn't I go for the hard tyres? But here's Turismo Desson. Look at the gap he's gained there. He was 4 seconds before, and he's just completely down to 1 now. So as you said, 3 seconds he's gained in that midsection alone. And now we're coming onto the straight that the Nissan likes oh so much.
Yeah, and this could be third place for Turismo Desson, I'd say, as they come down the start-finish straight, potentially even second if it's that quick. But let's have a look as they come down. Then Desson will start closing up to Ant. Here we go, closer and closer. Speed in the bottom right of your screen, already up to 210 mile an hour. Now in the slipstream, that will just accelerate all the way up to 225. See you later, Ant. One more to pick off before we get towards turn number 1, and that is Zenit now at over 230 mile an hour. Goodbye, and up into second place. There we go.
If only it were always that easy, eh, Chris? Like just drive past the car in a straight line. But that's kind of the awesome thing about having different cars in the class, different levels of cars, different eras and whatever. They have different strengths and different weaknesses. This Nissan, terrible on its tyres, obviously, but just fantastically fast in a straight line. Not too bad for the twisty stuff either. So that's why we're getting that result. We have Zenit and Ant who have not pitted, and Desson there on the fresh tyres, just driving away now. 1.5 seconds already to Zenit behind. 1.7 seconds now. Not even for the middle sector yet.
Well, it's got a gap of just over 5 seconds now to try and close down, and we'll monitor that as the rest of the race goes on. But here's a good battle for third, Zenit versus Ant. This is the other Nissan we're looking at, Windfire, who was a couple of seconds back from Desson and will be in chase now. And once we get to the straight, Windfire will be essentially in third place as we come down towards turn number 12. Oh, well, in fact, he's going to go into fourth before we even get to the straight. Showing off. There we go, fourth place, and now we go on to the straight, and that is essentially third place. So Windfire there, doing a good job coming back through the field.
It looks like a different class almost. It's so much faster at this stage of the race, and of course you still have to make the overtakes on track, otherwise you're going to end up where you are. And that's kind of the downside to the strategy of the Nissan, is that you have to still make the passes. But luckily for these guys, when the thing is fast, it is a straight. Well, there's not really much you can do about being passed. So that's why I think we're seeing these guys in Nissan as just having a bit of a good time out here. So Desson now 3.7 seconds behind Carl Lamb. That gap's coming down all the time. And Windfire, as you said, is now up into third position. He's taking Ant on the straight there. Yeah,
now Leicester is next, but Leicester kind of catching Zenit and Ant at a pretty bad time here, because may get caught behind as we head through T2 all the way through to T12. So we'll find out if Leicester's able to get through before we even get to that braking zone. And then in the background we've got Mars Ant 14. NZ is down to 8th place now, but it's still Carlam leading by 2.5 seconds. And of course we are about to go on to the last lap. So there is Carlam coming up towards the final few corners now. That is turn 10. Now we're going to come through 11 to lead us down towards turn number 12 and the heavy braking zone. And then we'll go around turn 13 flat out all the way down towards turn number 1. Let's go on board then with Desson as we come down towards turn number 12. And that looks like Desson should get by potentially before we get to turn 1. He's able to get a good exit.
Oh, there you go. He's got a bit impatient there, so he's got a bit of wheel spin coming out the corner, which lost him about 3/10 of a second now. I don't think Nissan is that fast. We'll have to wait and see. Can it gain 2 seconds in a straight line? And even if it does, then what happens then? If Carlam can somehow defend the position, he's then going to try and fend off Turismo Desson, who has fresher tyres and a faster car underneath him. So coming onto the last lap then, Carlam leads and the gap is coming down all the time, 1.3 seconds now. Desson won't quite catch him before T1, I don't think. We'll look at the gap though, down to 1.2 seconds, 225, 226 mile an hour before braking for T1. Look how much quicker Desson is through there, and now Carl Lamb, who was just a dot in the distance at the start of the straight, is now right in front of us.
Well, Carl Lamb, I don't think there's going to be anything Carl Lamb can do to hold on. He's going to have to just go heavily defensive, but of course Defsun can just wait until we get out of turn 13 and then just go straight past down towards the line. But Carl Lamb's going to have to try something here, or just see that there's a gap back to third and settle for second. But well, Carl Lamb making no mistakes. It's Defsun that's making them as we head through the middle section of the circuit. And at the moment, Defsun is making it very hard for himself.
Getting the dirty air there. I don't think he's really running the dirty air that much this race, so he's found it and then struggled as soon as he got onto the back of Carl Lamb. So it's still anyone's game. I was saying that there is going to be a drag race down to the line.
Close.
Let's see what happens here. Carl Lamb has the lead right now. Here comes Defsun there, using the power, the turbo power of a Nissan Group C car. Heavy braking into turn 12. Last corner, Carl Lamb does have the advantage for now, but it's only going to be 7/10 of a second. Defsun needs to be good on the throttle out of here. A little bit of a wiggle there from the back of the Nissan Group C car. 1.1 seconds. Who's got the leg? So here we go then. It's Mazda versus Nissan. It's a sprint to the line. The gap is coming down, but I think that Carl Lamb is just going to make it. Coming to the line now, and yes, Carl Lamb just comes across as the victor there from 7/10 of a second from Turismo Defsun, who'll be kicking himself for that middle sector. Windfire takes third. FT Ant comes home fourth. Leicester fifth, and AMS Marzan. Oh no, Marzan gets FT Ant right at the end there. I think Ant must have run out of fuel or something there, because Marzan got him on the line.
Wow, well, Zenit is going to be 7th, NZ 8th, then we have Outlaw Quadrant 9th, AMS Doogie was 10th, Rory True was 11th, Bro Wilson 12th, Bill Barder was 13th, and then we've got this is it. Well, this, you can see a drag race here between Bill Barder and Artijan, so it's not quite finished yet, and it looks like the Artijan is gonna just have to settle for 14th. Unfortunately, Bill Barder just about taking 13th. Ibuprofen safe at the back in 15th place. Well, there you can see Carl Lamb took the win, made no mistakes on that final lap, cool under pressure, the American, and a deserved victory in the end. Defsun finishing in second, and Windfire was in third place. What a fantastic race that was, a very exciting end. Pit stops were a big thing there, and let's see what it's done to the points then. Now 18 rounds completed, and Defsun still leading the way out front.
The gap's come down though substantially now, only about 400 points where it was 700 before, so a great race there from Carl Lamb. Down the field there, AMS Marzan, who pipped 5th there right at the last second, moves up into 12th position, and NZ, who wasn't actually on our leaderboard at the start, moves up into a qualifying position into 15th, so he'll be very happy with that. Well,
it always provides great racing, does the FIA Gran Turismo Championships, and our next World Tour event will be coming up very shortly. It's going to be at the Nürburgring 24-hour on June the 21st and 22nd. Available to watch in all the usual places at the times you can see below. Make sure you're with us, but it's goodbye for now.